everyone. This is Chen Benasher, your board certified nutritionist. And today's topic will be, are you a gluten-free as a college student? And what are the challenges you may face while you are starting your college? And I just remember my daughter she is gluten-free, of course, and we were so excited to sign her to college. But then the gluten-free issue came up, and here is the place that I wanted to share with you all what we did and all the science behind it, so you can have smooth transition into college and stay healthy, keeping your gluten-free diet as well. But before we diving into it, let's start with the music. So moving out of home or our home safe kitchen is a big deal when we are dealing with gluten-free diet, especially if we are celiac or if we are really feeling, body responses that are regressive, like running to the bathroom or stomach ache, even depression and anxiety are associated with gluten-free diet. So you want to make sure that, and making sure that you're supporting yourself even when you're moving out of your home safe kitchen. Now, a lot of combination and agreement and kind of like solution had been found in the last 24 months while on COVID. And definitely more and more people have been stayed at home, and they kept their cooking safety and prolonged their safetiness for their health. But many of us are going back to routine right now, and some days better than others. Other universities are making different changes and arrangement. But if you are going out of your home safe kitchen, you need to know pretty much what to do and how to deal with that without mom and dad and without the safe food that you've been used to eat before. And the temptation is big. Definitely the temptation is big. You've been exposed to different food, you're in stress, you run from class to class, from assignment to assignment, and things need to be settled and prepared. Otherwise, you will find yourself with much more potential flare-ups and definitely more challenges to stay healthy. So one of the things that I can share with you dealing with my daughter transferring her into college was making sure that she had at her room a small refrigerator. So the one thing we did was definitely went to Target or any other store in the market, and we bought those small light refrigerator under $100 that we could carry ourselves. My daughter and myself with a dolly that the university even on the moving day gave us. And it was really easy to kind of like store frozen meals, some nut milks, hummus, vegetables to keep the day, and especially when food was not enough or satisfied or safe in the dining halls. That's something that you want to keep in mind and do that, and use even the top of the refrigerator as a shelf, being in that new environment. By doing that, simply making some changes very easily. So that's something that I will highly suggest you to take action and support yourself. The other thing that we did when we came to the room, we moved up the bed, one or two layers, and we created much more storage space for her. And like with many other students in the college, the space behind the bed can be storage bed, but for her, it was also a food storage as well. So you want to make sure that you are pulling yourself a little bit high and making yourself more space to store your food. You can use food storage container with top and kind of like that 2 layers of storage, or even 3, where you can have gluten-free crackers and pretzels and chips and cans of any type of food, and nuts and butternut. So you can store this safe food under your bed, and if you need that, you have it and not stay hungry. Being hungry is one of the biggest mistakes that people are doing, and obviously it's hard to keep any successful academic yearly achievements if you are not feeling satisfying and calm. If you are hungry, you get nervous. If you get nervous, you will start cheating. There is no way around. So out of protection, you want to make sure that you have dry food or even stored fresh fruit in your mini refrigerator in the room. So an apple or a pear or a couple of clean dried lettuce with salt or raw with butternut that you can have can make it and satisfy you and calm you down, so you're not hungry and you're not stressing yourself to a point where you don't have a choice but cheating. And that's something that you don't want, because antibody production is happening immediately in a moment where you are producing, when you are exposing yourself to food that you should not. But the point here is that it takes about 6 months to stop and slow this self-production of antibodies. And 6 months where your immune system is on alert is not worth the risk of your health, for your health. So you want to make sure that you are keeping the storage, keeping the safety cycles of food. So if you didn't find good enough food in the dining room, you at least know that you're safe in your own room, keeping the routine the best you can without exposing yourself and challenging your immune system. If you are opening any product, just make sure that you're sealing it, closing it, and put it back. We don't want you to waste food, and we don't want you to waste money. It costs a lot of money to our parents, to ourselves, to make this food, not just safe, but also don't waste it. So one of the things that I'm always saying to people, I want you to keep your diet. I want you to be safe. I want you to be successful. But in college, there is kind of like, for many students, like a free food outdoor there. Even though your parents are paying very much and a lot of money, try to respect the food. We don't have that much food on the planet, and we don't want to waste it. So if there is anything I can say here, try to save and try to protect yourself as well. There is other food options on campus and off campus that you can explore and make sure that you are adding into your repertoire of food choices, so you don't get fed up and tired from this food in the dining room, because I know that in the dining hall, most of the gluten-free products is limited. And it can be challenging. And yes, it is tiring to eat more and more and more the same food. So you want to explore other options around the campus and off the campus, so you can either order or just kind of like bike into those restaurants and make sure you are eating. Now, I will not specify any restaurant right now, just because I don't think it's fair to, I don't know where you are, but I will say also that even in restaurants, you want to make sure that you're checking the ingredients, because ingredients can alert us. And look at all of my videos that I'm talking, like just a week ago, I posted a whole podcast about meat glue that you can find in a steak that can challenge your immune system. So make sure that you're reading your ingredients and make sure that you know what's in the outcome of bean salad of any product that you can have. And this is the places where we're falling apart mostly. This is where a lot of companies are using rice oil and soy, and cross contamination can happen. And therefore, we are challenging ourselves with more immune risk and flare up and inflammation deteriorating our tissues. By the way, the best book to read is What If Gluten Free is Not Enough? All this information is here. I wrote that. This is a bestseller book that you can absolutely purchase on Amazon or on our website. But make sure you're reading. Make sure you are making the right decisions for yourself so you are not getting those flare up. So if you were talking about being on campus, a lot of times an area where you want to be kind of like aware will be salad dressing. Salad dressing seems almost like a safe place to go. So you got a great mix of greens and vegetables, and then you're using salad dressing, and boom, you get a flare. And the reason why we get it, because a lot of time companies are using malt vinegar, which is absolutely gluten, or oat, or rye, or even wheat germ or starches, and not from any purpose, because it's cheap and it's easy. And sometimes they don't even look at the ingredients that they are buying in order to serve us. Yes, it's tasty, I would agree. But for us as a gluten sensitive and celiac people, we need to make sure we're not falling off the wagon and not creating challenges. Not to say that a lot of salad dressing will carry whey protein and whey powder, where we can absolutely get into a flare. Couscous is another sexy kind of like new food that a lot of outdoor restaurants and dining rooms will serve. But just keep in mind, couscous is wheat, and as good as it is, it's not good for us. And you want to keep that in mind. And absolutely, you want to avoid that. At the same token, for some of us, quinoa will be equally evil because of cross contamination and because of immune response to the amino acid sequence. So we have to keep in mind that it's not what is written, or either in this, in my book or in any podcast that you hear. You have always to evaluate the information giving to yourself, to what your body is recognized or not in that sense. Other thing that you want to pay attention is different flours that they will use, and you want to make sure that they are absolutely can be an obstacle for yourself. For example, enriched flours where they are adding vitamins and minerals to them. Sometimes the substance that had been added is made by gluten or dairy or soy, and that by itself can act as trigger to the immune system. Farina, millet, and wheat will use in hot cereal, and you want to make sure that you're choosing those that don't have it. Gluten-free cereals many times will carry rice, and rice will be another grain that you want to avoid at any cost, because rice can create immune response due to many reasons, and we will talk about that different time. But make sure you are aware that this may be your reason for a flare-up. Ground flour is a whole wheat flour. They just take part of the wheat, but trace of wheat and the trace of the peptide wheat, the protein wheat can be included there, and now you get a flare as well. And so these are, different type of flours that can be activating a flare and immune response, and now you feel sick. College time is a time where we are allowed to drink alcohol. Yay, we love to drink alcohol. We want to drink alcohol, and it's okay to drink alcohol. I will never say to you, do not drink that. But be aware that beer is made by wheat or malt barley, and both grains contain gluten. Therefore, you drink beer, and now you get immune response. And yes, I know that there is a lot of gluten-free beer in the market, but not necessarily they are safe for you because of many reasons. Now, one of the things that there is in the market is gluten-free beer based on sorghum. And what we know is that it's not necessarily the safety outcome for you guys, but make sure that we don't have enough studies showing that it's not activating immune response to different degree with different people. So again, I don't have a good answer to give you in that sense, but I will say that if you are ready to drink beer, make sure that the beer is really safe and the grains that made by the beer or the company beer is not gluten free. It's not gluten, sorry, it's not gluten, and the grain is not cross reactivity and not from the wheat family. This is very important for you to realize because we don't have yet enough studying showing a clear evidence that we don't get immune response indirectly to that safe grains. Other ingredients that you want to avoid when we're talking about alcoholic beverage or beverage that made by rye or that had been said that that beer had been processed, treated, or crafted. These are absolutely words that will say that this product had been manufactured in a gluten facility and there are and may be trace peptides of gluten in it that's immune response or potential immune response to you. So this is something that you want to keep in mind. And beer is great to drink. I always love to have beer, but I never was able to tolerate that. So wine was my choice, and there are other choices. My best advice professionally is avoid beer for at any cost, just because it's not worth it, and it's not worth the immune response and carrying antibodies for 6 months, and definitely not the challenges that this immunity response creating and bringing into our life. It's not worth it, in my opinion, at least. And we pay the toll in the end of the day. If not today, in 10 years, we will pay the toll. So if you look forward into your future, you want to make better choices and just make sure that the alcohol you are drinking made with no gluten, and even a trace of gluten peptide can create a significant impact on your overall health. Other potential gluten hazard can be, of course, when they say cereal of any kind, even if it's gluten-free. There is a lot of gluten-free oat products there. Oat is not gluten-free. Just keep in mind the percentage of gluten or gliadin in oat is less significantly compared to wheat. So there is no such a thing. So if you think you are eating oatmeal cereal and it's gluten-free, you're totally wrong. And again, this is where you're leading yourself to a point where you're not recovering and you're challenging yourself in this ongoing immunity response with no capacity to heal. French fries can carry wheat as well. Yes, 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 yes. So you holding or you buying a French fries with a great hamburger, wrapped in a lettuce, but the French fries may contain wheat as well. Be aware of that. Imitation meat, seafood, hot dogs, salad dressing, gravies, of any food can create that as well. And sausages, chips, and soup can also be gluten as well. So you want to keep in mind that these foods require your attention, and these foods require the second question, like, hey, can I be safe here? Or this is where it's going to take me downhill. Now, I can tell you and sharing with you that what we did with my daughter is that I was making quiches for her with no dairy and meatballs and food packages that, for 2 to 3 weeks ago, And every couple of weeks, either I was traveling to her place or she came back home and picked it up. And we found definitely restaurants and chefs locally that were able to cook for her in times where I was not able to do that. And obviously, it's only 1 year. The first year is the challenge one. After that, when she moved into her own apartment with her own kitchen, with her own utilities, she was able to take care of herself and kept her diet the best she can. And she did it like many others. And I can tell you that I'm working with so many college students that one of the things that I see is that transition. Only the transition is challenge, but once you pass the transition, you are fine. You just kind of like keep doing that, and you are supporting yourself. Another thing that I would like to say here is that it depends how do you look at yourself and how do you describe the celiac disease and the gluten sensitivity. You see yourself as a disabled person, or do you yourself as a lucky person that basically early in life found out what's the challenges of his health or her health, and just keeping yourself healthy. And I hope you are confident enough to share this dietary needs with your roommates and your friends. You don't have to expose yourself. You don't have to give, full details. But I know to say that every time you open your heart and you share your struggling, someone will jump in and help you to cross this challenge. And being gluten free is not a challenge, it's an opportunity to keep yourself healthy. And the longer you keep yourself healthy, the better it is for you. So find your best friends and share that information and get the help from the environment around you, and see how lucky you are carrying those challenges and rephrasing it and supporting yourself into a better first year in college, and moving after less than 8 months to your own apartment, your own kitchen, continue supporting yourself. Celiac disease and gluten sensitivity is it's a lifetime challenge. It's not something that ends one day. And we know from studies that even people that had cramp of a bread 24 months after they've been off gluten, their immune system had been respond to it immediately. And this is a healthy, normal response of your body. So you are lucky that your body is responding this way. You are lucky that you discovered that years before you got sick. And the only thing you have to keep in mind that the longer you'll keep the gluten out of your diet, the better you'll be healthy, and mentally and academically, you could skyrocket and be so successful. Not one and not two of my clients have been completed college, as the best students of their class. So it's possible. It's absolutely possible. And I'm wishing you super great school year to come. Don't forget to love yourself, and don't forget to support yourself. Health, it's not an easy thing to achieve, but once you do that, keep it. It's so important. Good luck, everyone, and see you in our next podcast. Take care.